Okay, so I wanted to make this little supplementary video for my last video on drawing breasts, and I wanted to talk a little bit about drawing breasts from a side profile. Specifically though, I wanted to highlight this one detail about the differences between smaller breasts and bigger breasts when seen from a side profile. So here we have two torsos from the side, and zooming in here, this line that I'm highlighting in red represents part of the lower pectoralis major. So if I just draw this real quick on the side, it's this little bit specifically. And so this detail is that a smaller breast can often be seen sort of connecting back to this part of the chest muscle as depicted here. In other words, the breast will make its way from the front to the back and connect to this point directly onto the chest muscle. And this can actually be seen in this photo reference. Conversely, however, I find that doing this when you're drawing a person with bigger breasts just doesn't really look right. It looks kind of weird and unnatural, even though technically the breast does indeed connect back to the chest muscle. Even still, I personally avoid doing this. Instead of connecting it back to the chest muscle, I like to draw the bottom half of the breast sort of tapering off towards the back, or even sometimes to the armpit. And I find that doing this just kind of gives the breasts a more natural look to them while also giving them a sense of weight as they sit against the ribs. This is something that can also be seen in a pose where the breasts may be hanging slightly. So with smaller breasts, they'll tend to look almost tight as they connect back to the chest muscle. On bigger breasts, if I did the same thing, it almost looks like I'm forcing the breast to connect back to the chest muscle, thus making it look unnatural. This is why I always like to leave it a bit open-ended, making sure to leave a bit of space between the line for the breast and the line for the chest muscle, and doing it this way results, in my opinion, in a more natural look. This also can actually be observed in real references as well. Next, I wanted to talk about the slight differences in sort of nude breasts and breasts that are supported by clothing, and I say slight because the differences are actually not even that crazy. With unsupported breasts, as you can imagine, the only force that is applied to them, on a person that is standing still that is, will be gravity, so they'll just hang on the chest as they do naturally. With supported breasts, the only real adjustment I like to make is taking into account that the top that this person has on is sort of pushing them up ever so slightly, resulting in drawing the breast with more of a C-curve than a raindrop. This being a raindrop for unsupported and this being the C-curve for supported. So it's almost like I'm just pushing the raindrop up a little bit. One real quick tip for drawing cleavage is literally just writing the letter Y in place of the cleavage. So nothing special here. The idea is that by tracing the contour of the breast underneath the clothing, you get the letter Y. Now, something that I see done sometimes in artists' work that I don't personally like to do is to outline the entire form of the breasts underneath the clothing. And this kind of just makes it look like they're not wearing anything at all. And it almost looks like the shirt is like saran wrapped around her chest. So unless this is the look you're going for, I'd avoid doing this in your work. And this goes double if the character is wearing a bigger article of clothing like a sweatshirt or even just a bigger t-shirt. What I like to do is to follow the form of the breast up to this point and then just dropping off the line like this, maybe even indicating where the other boob is making contact with the shirt and erasing away the rest. You'll see in a front-facing view that if I outlined the entire breast and put the shirt there, it just looks wrong. And if I erase this part, it still leaves this corner here looking maybe a little too tight against the body. Although something like this can definitely be pulled off if the character is wearing something more tight fit, like a sports bra or something. And that is going to do it for today's bonus video on drawing breasts. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll talk to you again as soon as I can.